Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Il est 10 heures passées, donc je vous propose qu'on démarre ce webinaire du jour, le temps que tout le monde puisse se connecter à la session. Je vous rappelle que le webinaire est comme toujours enregistré et vous pourrez le retrouver plus tard, donc l'enregistrement et la présentation qui sera faite ce matin sur la page sur laquelle vous êtes inscrite d'ailleurs pour assister au webinaire du jour. Du coup, ces petits rappels techniques faits, donc vous rappelez aussi voilà, que nous ne sommes pas responsables du contenu qui est fait de la présentation. Et puis, je vais introduire du coup le webinaire avec quelques éléments de contexte. Donc, je pense que vous êtes tous voilà, au courant qu'aujourd'hui, nous allons parler de l'évaluation à l'aveugle, qui est un pilote dans le cadre du programme de travail 2023-2024. On va le voir à travers les modalités de cette évaluation à l'aveugle et également des illustrations. Et on n'abordera pas l'évaluation de manière plus générale aujourd'hui. Donc, ceci étant dit, on va commencer la session avec quelques questions par Slido. Alors, je vais vous mettre, parce que vous voyez ici, donc, le code de la session Slido. Donc, vous allez sur Slido et vous rentrez le code blind qui est évalué ici, indiqué ici. Vous scannez le QR code. On va également vous rajouter tout de suite le lien direct dans le chat. Comme ça, vous n'avez plus qu'à cliquer sur le lien pour y accéder également. Sachant que la première question aujourd'hui, voilà, donc si vous êtes connecté, vous devez avoir le lien, c'est de savoir qui est avec nous aujourd'hui, donc quelle est votre profession? Je laisse quelques secondes pour avoir le temps de répondre. Pour rappel, le lien est dans le chat si vous voulez cliquer directement. Sinon, vous pouvez aller sur le site slido.com en entrant le code blind. Voilà, donc je vois qu'il y a déjà une trentaine de personnes qui ont pu participer. Et puis aujourd'hui, du coup, on a principalement, comme vous pouvez le lire, avec le nuage de mots, donc des chefs de projet, ingénieurs de projet européens, je vois consultants en projet européen, des chargés d'affaires, chefs de projet, des collègues du PCN Santé, et PCN de manière générale. Et je vois qu'il y a toujours quelques secondes encore si vous voulez ajouter une réponse. Puis, toujours des gens qui sont en train d'écrire. Très bien, bah, écoutez, on va passer, je pense, merci à la question suivante. Un peu plus en rapport avec le sujet du jour, de savoir si vous connaissez donc l'évaluation à l'aveugle ou non. Les votants, donc on a une large majorité, donc plus de 70% des personnes qui ne connaissent pas ce dispositif. Très bien, écoutez, c'est l'occasion de l'aborder aujourd'hui et d'en savoir plus. Très bien, du coup, question suivante dans cette introduction, c'est, est-ce que vous avez soumis déjà ou aidé à soumettre, pour ceux qui accompagnent, une proposition donc, dite à l'aveugle? Donc oui, logiquement, puisqu'un certain nombre d'entre vous ne connaissaient pas ce dispositif, si je puis dire, forcément, vous n'avez pas pu soumettre, ou accompagner de proposition. Donc, voilà, seuls 5 des personnes qui ont répondu au sondage, ont déjà soumis une proposition, dite à l'aveugle. Très bien. Merci, je pense qu'on en a terminé avec ces petites questions introductives. Ce qui me permet, maintenant rapidement donc vous rappeler que, le PCN juridique et financier, c'est une équipe, composée de 5 personnes, donc mes collègues qui sont toutes là, avec moi ce matin, Ingrid Licky, Irénée Créta, Lucie Vaucel et Cécile, Barra. Voilà, donc toutes les 5, nous vous accompagnons en organisant ces événements, mais aussi en répondant à vos questions, par mail, par téléphone, entre autres, ainsi que nos collègues, des PCN, on a vu certains sont connectés, ce matin. Voilà. Donc ça, c'est pour, présenter l'équipe, mais aussi et surtout, on voudrait, vous présenter ce matin donc les 2 personnes qui ont accepté, d'intervenir, pour cet événement. Hello and welcome both of you. Thank you very much for being here. Donc Isabelle, Fergara et Isabella Prokovovic. Voilà, super, vous avez mis vos caméras. Donc j'en profite pour préciser à tout le monde, qu'aujourd'hui, donc la présentation sera faite, en anglais par nos invités de la Commission européenne, mais que bien sûr pendant les échanges, les questions-réponses qu'on fera à l'issue des présentations, on fera au maximum les échanges, en français pour que ceux qui sont moins à l'aise avec la langue de Shakespeare puissent aussi, voilà, poser leurs questions et avoir leurs réponses. Voilà, et je vois la question dans le chat, donc oui, je vous le rappelle, je l'ai dit en introduction, vous aurez bien sûr, l'enregistrement de la session ainsi que la présentation qui seront disponibles sur la page de l'événement comme d'habitude. Voilà, donc là, les liens qui s'affichent vers l'actualité du PCN, Jurfine, voilà, comme d'habitude, vous savez où la trouver, voilà. Donc, je vais laisser la parole à l'invité. Please, Isabella, I don't know who have the floor first.
Well, I will make a short introduction and then Isabella will present. Okay. Yes, thank you very much for inviting us to this event. I'm sorry we cannot speak so well in French, so we understand, but we are not able to make this presentation in French. So we are going to present to you the all what we have been presenting in different info days about the pilot on blind evaluation that we are running. And then I think we have been updating these slides with questions that we have received in different events. So we think that we will cover all your questions in these slides, but of course we can reply additional questions later. So I think it's best that Isabella starts the presentation now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Isabel, and thank you also from my side for having us. And I hope also when we are doing the presentation in English, it will be clear and helpful for everyone. We can move to the first slide, where we combined basically some very the background information about the pilot on blind evaluation. So in the Horizon Europe work program for 23-24, all two-stage calls will be evaluated blindly, with one exception for widening, which was excluded by design. And we also included in the slides the legal basis in Article 28 of the Horizon Europe regulation. And what was the idea behind the pilot, why we wanted to introduce it? We wanted to tackle some concerns that the evaluation process could be perceived as biased towards well-known organizations which are coming from countries with a better performing research and innovation system. So this was the bias. There was an independent study done which did not reveal such bias. So this is the background behind the pilot, but the aim of the pilot right now is to identify whether the implementation of the blind evaluation within our legal requirements and the operational context creates any difficulties. Because if this will be not the case, this can lead to a modified approach with a greater use of blind evaluations, but we don't know this at this point. Of course, this could lead to a mitigation of the risk of real potential or perceived reputational bias. But again, this is what we want to identify with the pilot. It's really to focus whether the implementation, given the legal context, operational context, will be possible. We can move to the next slide. And here we wanted to collect all the key facts. So again, the pilot was launched for the Horizon Europe Work Program 2023-24. All two-stage calls are concerned, except one call in widening. And the first very important point, it only concerns the first stage application of two-stage calls. So the second stage application will be evaluated as usual. Again, first stage proposals of two-stage submissions are evaluated blindly, and what will come also later, what exactly means to be evaluated blindly. But the most important point is applicants may not disclose their identity in Part B of the proposal. We'll explain again the difference of Part A and Part B of the proposal. What the pilot, what it meant actually was a new admissibility criterion. So this is how we can check that applicants submitting a proposal under the blind evaluation pilot must not disclose their organization names, acronyms, logos, nor names of personnel in Part B of their first stage application. So this is direct identification, and this makes the proposal inadmissible. But of course, there are also ways for indirect identification of applicants, and these have to be discussed case by case. And again, we will also go more into details what indirect identification can be. We can move to the next slide. Exactly, the process. So the idea behind blind evaluation is that the experts do not know the consortium structure or the applicants involved. For Part A of the proposal, we were able to hide the Part A automatically via the IT system from the experts. So experts do not see Part A, so the proposal details page, and they don't see the information about the applicants. For the proposal Part B, it was not possible to hide any information automatically. So it is up to the applicant to submit any identification data in their first stage application, of course. The evaluating officer will check the proposal manually and look whether the applicant included any identification in Part B of the proposal. And here we come back to the distinction between direct and indirect identifications. If proposal include any direct identification of the applicant in Part B, this proposal will be declared inadmissible. Indirect identifications may result as well in declaring a proposal inadmissible, but this will be analyzed case by case. We can move to the next slide. And here we collected some experience that we had the possibility collect with past events and past discussions. So first of all, it was the difference between clearly inadmissible proposal and gray zone cases, which have to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. And we are also using the help of our legal team to make here the decisions. Second point, also very important. We expect that there will be admissible proposals which are completely in line with the requirements and with the rules of blind evaluations, but the evaluator could guess the identity of the applicant regardless. For example, in the case of a small research community or a smaller domain. What we can do is we can track those cases and examine to what extent true blind evaluations were possible. Then we were asked about the dimension of the country of the applicant. And what we can say is that the dimension of country of the applicant does not necessarily mean that the proposal will be deemed inadmissible. However, in case the applicant is clearly identifiable in connection with other information included in the proposal, this proposal can be deemed inadmissible. Another point which we were asked was the case of blacked out names and information, though it's not preferred, of course, but accepted. Another point is that we will consider the intentionality behind the exposure of identity, whether it was a mistake, whether it was the intention of the applicant to bend these rules. So we will also have a look into this. And another point is on the guidance which is available on direct and indirect identification of the applicant. And we included here the guidance in the first stage standard application form template, which is available in the funding and tenders portal. We can move to the next slide. Again, questions from past events, which we collected and thought that could also be helpful for others. How can experts assess the capacity of the partners to perform the work proposed, so the implementation? Here it is important to keep in mind it's only the first stage application, and only excellence and part of the impact are evaluated in these first stage proposals. We do not evaluate implementation at this stage. Second question, how can applicants support the state of the art or TRL of proposal without citing their own publications or projects? Another point which came up a lot is the question about publications and projects and referring to them. And we will have separate slides for these as well. But here, to say quickly, applicants cannot mention these publications as theirs, but they can mention them from a neutral point of view, and we'll come back with some examples what exactly this means. Can we mention governmental bodies by name in a blind evaluation proposal? Well, if there are beneficiaries, then not. The consortium structure cannot be mentioned in the first stage application. However, the consortium will be revealed in the second stage application. As we said, the second stage will be not evaluated blindly. And another point which we received some questions on, how to manage if we have to mention the location of a pilot plot or type of farm or a climatic area. This can be mentioned, especially when the topic description requires it, and as the applicant does not necessarily have to be from this particular area. So this is to keep in mind. We can move to the next one. Exactly, references to publications. This is, again, a point which we received a lot of questions, and the proposal can include references to participants on publications if there's no emphasis that the publication is authored by one or more of the proposers. And here, to make it easier to understand, an example of a statement which would make the proposal inadmissible. For climate impact, we'll use greenhouse gas emission intensities following a methodology developed previously by a project partner with the mention of the project partner. This would make the proposal inadmissible. However, the next one would be okay. For climate impact, we'll use greenhouse gas emission intensities following the methodology described in, and then we mentioned the publication. This would be acceptable. The next slide. And then the references to NI activities. So the name of past projects can be mentioned. So we are talking about the projects, for example, of the basically also any projects, but it cannot be explicitly indicated the proposal, the current proposal is a continuation of these projects, or that the partners from the past projects overlap with project partners of the current proposal. So again, this neutral approach. If the applicant would like to refer to other RNI activities as their own, then the name of the past ongoing project cannot be mentioned, and the project should not be identifiable through its description. So this is how we can include also if the applicant really wants to emphasize that it's their own RNI activity. And then again, the point to about the name of the city and its characteristics. Well, this can be mentioned provided that there's no explicit indication in the proposal that any of the applicants are from this location, even if it would be in reality the truth. Otherwise, if the participant wants to mention that one of the project partners is coming from or is closely connected with the given city, for example, if the municipality is one of the project partners, and then the city name should not be mentioned, and the city should only be vaguely described by its characteristics, which would not allow for its identification. And then we can move to the next slide. And yes, we collected, and these examples are also available in the guidance that we included in the application form. But these are examples of statements which would make the proposal inadmissible. And we would go through them. For example, the first one, most of project participants have been involved in previous Horizon 2020 projects, and then the name of the project. The second one, it's the same example we used for how to show the difference between how to reference on publications. So here, following a methodology developed previously by a project partner, we have already the information. The third one, this task in VP3 will be based on outputs generated by some participants of the consortium, and then with a footnote, a link to a YouTube video or webpage where participants can be identified. This is exactly one of these examples. The consortium includes the largest research institute in France. This is also a identification that it's clearly identifiable which research institute is included in the consortium. And the next slide, please. Then Partner 3 is the leading company in Spain for wind turbine installation. A lot of information, country, and then we have it's a leading company, and it's also the what area they're working on. The next example, our current research expands our previous findings described in a recently published article. So it's the connection between a past RNI activity. The consortium consists of leaders in high-tech industry, including the biggest in terms of capital constructor, of microchips. Again, a lot of information and easy to identify. The coordinator organization was the one who first introduced the concept of mRNA in vaccines. And the last one would be the consortium consists of 2 research centers, including an international one based in Geneva and the oldest university in Belgium. So this would be the examples that we could provide. And then the last, I think, yeah, this is the last one about the assessment of the pilot on blind evaluation. So what is the ways forward? So we'll conduct a full assessment of the pilot after all participating calls, so after 2024, but we will have also, of course, an interim analysis after the first round of participating 2023 topics. Whether there will be any definitive feedback available at this point, rather not, but we'll have to keep in mind also the planning after the 24. What we foresee for the assessment exercise is a separate questionnaire for applicants and experts. We will receive feedback from call coordinators, and we have also additional questions for experts in their evaluation forms if they were able to guess the identity of the applicants in case of admissible proposals. So this we will also track whether the true blind evaluations were possible. And yeah, the general purpose of the assessment of the pilot will be to measure whether the true blind evaluation is possible given the operational and legal context of the Horizon Europe evaluation procedure. So this ties in what was already mentioned in the beginning. So this would be all from my side for the presentation, but I guess we'll also move to the further questions now. And yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Isabella. In fact, we are going for some question, I think. Je vais du coup laisser la parole à mes collègues pour gérer la session de questions. Donc, n'hésitez pas, vous avez le lien, vous le rappelez pour poser vos questions. Vous pouvez les poser en français, en anglais, comme vous voulez. De toute façon, on va essayer de switcher entre les deux langues pour que tout le monde se comprenne bien. Voilà, merci à toutes et à tous.
Alors, bonjour, je prends le relais de Fanny. Merci Fanny pour lire les questions sur Slido. Je vous invite vraiment à voter pour les questions qui vous intéressent le plus. Donc, merci pour ces informations. Merci mesdames, Isabella, Isabelle. 2 questions. Est-il possible de donner des exemples de ce qui pourra être considéré comme information indirecte, s'il vous plaît? Et deuxième point de la question, la durée d'évaluation sera-t-elle allongée pour les topics concernés?
Yes, thank you. Maybe I covered this. We have tried to give as many examples as possible in the slides. I think we have also included examples in the proposal template. We cannot give more examples than that. So I don't know if we need to cover any particular issue, but this we will need to know. And then the duration of the evaluation, no, we don't think that it will be extended. No, it will be the same. Yeah. So but we are indeed working or dedicating more resources than in a normal evaluation. This is for sure. So we are involving the central services, the legal services, with many questions, in particular for these two or the first calls that we are now currently evaluating. And we also, Isabella and myself and my unit is also involved in all the discussions. So something that we are not normally doing in any evaluation. So these are the things that we are going to analyze after the pilot. So whether we have sufficient resources also to do this properly. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's clear to me. Autre question, dans la santé notamment, les consortia devront décrire l'accès à des jeux de données et ou infrastructures uniques en fonction de leur domaine respectif, cohorte, biobanque, etc., directement nécessaires à l'évaluation de l'excellence de leur projet. Comment faire dans ce cas?
Well, it's true that with the topics in the health area, we are discussing different aspects with the call coordinators and also the policy unit in DG/RTD, not only in the agency. And we, because these calls are, the deadline of these calls are later on in the year, I think after the summer, we will probably publish more guidance on this. But indeed, for some topics, we will have to give more guidance on how we expect a true blind evaluation proposal for a true blind evaluation. Yeah. So this we are currently discussing. In particular, for the cohorts, we already have agreed some additional guidance. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. A question in English. Thank you for that. For any example of inadmissible sentence, Could you please rephrase it and give example of a good way to put them in a proposal, in a guideline, for example?
Maybe Isabella, you want to cover this?
Yes, for now. So we indeed we only had the questions of which would make the proposal inadmissible. We did not plan to extend this guidance beyond this was already included, and so. For my side, I would be that we would not extend it anymore. I think if Isabel would like to add anything, no, it's fine. Okay.
No, for the moment, no. We have discussed this. It's not the first time that we received this request, but we consider that for the time being, we are not going to extend these examples. Yeah.
Thank you, merci beaucoup. Dans le cadre de cette procédure, est-il possible de contacter la Commission ou les PCN pour présenter nos activités?
To the national contact points, I cannot say, but to the Commission to present these activities, we don't normally do this. Yeah, so this is business as usual. Yeah, so we don't change this for blind evaluations. Yeah.
Pour les PCN, peut-être je répondrai que en cas de question sur la procédure, en cas de doute sur peut-être un élément précis de votre projet, vous pouvez toujours contacter nous, PCN juridiques et financiers. Après, on n'ira pas dans le détail de relecture de votre proposition pour comprendre vos activités. Donc voilà, en cas de doute sur la blind evaluation et sur la manière de présenter les choses, vous pouvez toujours nous questionner. Mais voilà, encore une fois, on ne relira pas vos propositions de toute façon. Voilà, merci. Alors, autre question. Compte tenu des ellipses nécessaires pour éviter de mentionner directement les partenaires, uses cases, sites, etc., la limite du nombre de pages pour une proposition en phase 1 sera-t-elle augmentée?
No, we have exactly the same page limit as in a normal evaluation. And no, this is the first time that we received this request. So for the time being, we don't see the need to increase the page limit. No. Also, because normally for the stage 1 evaluations, we are not asking the identity of the consortia. So this is something to be taken into account. So we are evaluating only the excellence and part of the impact. And we accept proposals in which the consortium the proposal presents an overview of the consortium, but not, we don't ask to identify at this stage all the applicants, and this is exactly the same, and even more intensely now with the blind evaluation. So you can describe the consortium generally without revealing indirectly or directly the identity of the partners, but we are not asking for the identity also in non-blind evaluations. Yeah. So nothing changes here.
Thank you for your answer. Est-ce que mentionner l'expertise des membres du consortium, notamment dans la méthodologie, sera considéré comme identification indirecte? Par exemple, lorsque peu de personnes maîtrisent une technique ou sont spécialisées dans un domaine, l'identification peut être assez facile.
Well, the persons cannot be identified. This is a reason for direct identification, so direct inadmissibility. And then, yes, if it is needed in order to prove the excellence of the impact of the project to give details of the methodology, of the equipment, the special equipment, it has to be described as we explained in the slide, so in a neutral way, so not possible to identify the participant behind. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. En cas d'éléments relevés par les experts, est-ce que l'inadmissibilité est encore possible? Et en cas d'inadmissibilité, est-ce qu'un retour explicatif est fait aux déposants sur les éléments jugés comme donnant une indication sur l'identité des participants?
The first question I don't understand very well. So whether the experts can, so whether we start the evaluation of the experts, whether we can still say that the proposal is inadmissible? Yes, of course. So as Isabella said, we do a preliminary check of the eligibility and admissibility criteria. But yes, we will use the help of experts that maybe they tell us, look, in this paragraph, this partner is identified, and then we will take a decision. So just for your information, because now we have some experience with calls ongoing, we are discussing many proposals. So really many proposals did not follow the examples and the rules. And we, for the time being, are taking a very conservative approach. So probably we are allowing evaluation to proposals in which really we cannot identify a partner 100% identifiable. But we may give to experts a proposals, and then the experts think or found in this paragraph this participant is mentioned. And then before going for a rejection, this is what I wanted to say, we always consult with our legal service. So it's a decision that is taken together with the legal services, something that in a normal evaluation is not happening. Yeah. So we involve lawyers in for the decision. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. A question in English, a comment, apparently, because this will require specific stylistic skills, it will not be favorable to smaller institutions. It will favor consulting companies and big institutions with full-time proposal writers. It may also deter researchers from participating, and they are already difficult to convince. Do you want to react to this comment?
Well, this is also the first time that we hear this comment. I don't think we would agree with it necessarily, but of course, this may be part of our analysis. So if really this organization of blind evaluation results in that the participants need to contract consulting companies, this is of course not what we desired, and it will be part of our analysis. But honestly, it's the first time that we hear this comment. Isabella, do you want to say? No, okay.
I know I can. I agree. We never had this particular comment in this view received, and indeed, it's the pilot who we have to collect this feedback and take it. Take note of it, and this will also feed into the assessment of the pilot. What was the reactions also from the applicants? And of course, this should not be the case that it has this kind of consequences. So, but again, never heard this particular one before. But good to know.
Thank you for your comments on that. Nous recevons d'autres questions in English. Again, do you have a calendar for the future of this pilot? After 2024, will the pilot continue or not?
I can also take it.
Yes, take it
in English. So the pilot was foreseen for 23-24, of course. We are until we have an assessment and we can see what was the consequences and the effect and the success of the pilot, we cannot say right now whether the pilot will continue or not. Of course, we will have to, during 23-24, we'll have to do a analysis interim and an ongoing analysis to be ready for 24. But at this point, it's not possible to say anything about the future.
Okay, thank you very much. There is another question that has just appeared. When the assessment will be published?
So, of course, the assessment first will have to perform it, and this can be there are the 23 topics, 24 topics, but we'll have to, as I just said, probably be more on an ongoing analysis. The full assessment will be probably published after the end of the pilot, and then yes. So
yes, but if I may say, we will not be able to publish the internal analysis because it will include details of proposals that we cannot reveal, we cannot publish. Yeah. What we will publish is probably maybe a summary of the reasons why we take the decision to continue or discontinue. But the complete analysis, in my opinion, we will not be able to publish it. Yeah. Because it will include confidential information. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you very much. It's clear. I don't really understand this question. How can you know whether consultants participate?
Yeah, this is linked to the previous question. I think
I guess,
what we can do, and I was just thinking about it, is because, as Isabella explained, we will consult applicants and experts after the evaluation via an EU survey. And this is a question that we can include. So we are now working in the number of questions that we will ask them, and probably we can include this question in the EU survey and ask the applicants directly after the evaluation. Yeah.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup. J'ai l'impression que nous sommes arrivés au bout des questions. J'interroge les collègues du PCN juridique et financier, voir si pour elles c'est bon. Vous souhaitez peut-être ajouter des questions avant qu'on arrive à la conclusion? S'il n'y a plus de questions, c'est que les messages sont passés et que leur contenu est compris. À ce moment-là, on peut repasser sur la présentation. On a quelques petits mots de conclusion.
Je propose juste un rapide récapitulatif. L'évaluation à l'aveugle ne concerne que les appels en 2 étapes et sur la première étape uniquement. L'objectif est de rendre inéligible, donc c'est un critère d'éligibilité et non pas d'évaluation, de rendre inéligibles les propositions où les participants seront identifiables, soit directement, vous mettez les noms de l'entité, des chercheurs, votre logo, vous évoquez indirectement votre taille, etc., votre zone géographique, si c'est pas requis par l'appel. En revanche, si c'est nécessaire, vous pouvez indiquer certains éléments potentiellement personnels si c'est nécessaire pour vous conformer aux exigences de l'appel. Par exemple, si c'est nécessaire pour remplir les critères d'excellence ou certains objectifs. Mais restez prudent, il est très important de faire très attention à la rédaction adoptée. L'inéligibilité peut être prononcée en phase d'évaluation si un expert soulève que quelque chose serait passé à travers l'attention de la commission lors de la vérification du critère d'éligibilité. Et certaines guidance, enfin directives ou recommandations, seront potentiellement à venir sur certains topics spécifiques. C'est en cours d'élaboration par la commission. Je ne sais pas si... Et donc, en deuxième étape, vous n'êtes pas tenu d'anonymiser la proposition. Je ne sais pas si quelqu'un veut rajouter quelque chose.
Non, merci Ingrid. C'était un beau récapitulatif des messages clés. Merci beaucoup. Nous vous invitons à retourner sur Slido. Vous l'avez fait pour un bon nombre d'entre vous. Merci pour savoir si vous avez apprécié ce webinaire. Voilà, on a des avis mitigés presque. Mais non, c'est quand même pas mal. Un grand nombre de participants évaluent ce webinaire à 8, 9, 10, qui est bien. Merci. Puis nous avons aussi Non, alors attendez, pardon. Hop, non, c'est pas ça, c'est pas la question habituelle. Nous avons quelques diapositives aussi qui vous renvoient à des informations clés et des ressources utiles. Voilà, donc toujours nos liens vers la base légale, hein, les documents de référence sur les règles de participation. Par rapport à la blind évaluation, donc j'attire votre attention sur un webinaire qui a été organisé par la Commission européenne. Mesdames Isabelle, Isabella, je crois que vous y aviez participé. et qui peut être revisionné en ligne. Je crois qu'on a le lien. Je ne sais pas si Ingrid, tu peux passer la diapositive suivante. Je ne sais plus si on l'a mis dans nos diapos. Si ce n'est pas le cas, on le rajoutera et on le mettra dans les références, non, encore plus loin. Peut-être qu'on ne l'a pas mis. Non, on ne l'a pas mis, mais on vous donnera le lien vers ce webinaire qui avait répondu aussi, et qui donnait des exemples et qui avait répondu à un certain nombre de questions qui étaient posées par les participants, et qui étaient aussi très utiles. Alors, tout en anglais, encore une fois, mais c'était très bien. Oui, pardon, allez-y, je vous en prie.
No, thank you. Just to add that precisely for blind evaluation, the most important document to check is the template for the proposal of stage 1. Yeah, it's there where we explain all the examples that we have shown today. And I don't think in all these documents that you list here, we include any particular point on blind evaluation. But this is for the moment the document in which we are concentrating all the guidance available for the blind evaluation. I think there is a link in one of the slides that Isabella presented, yeah, of this document. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Perfect, no, perfect. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup Isabelle d'avoir mentionné cela. On le rajoutera dans nos diapositives. Donc, on rajoutera ce lien vers le webinaire de la commission. C'est vrai qu'on ne l'a pas fait, on a omis ça. Veuillez nous en excuser. On rajoutera ce lien vers le webinaire de la commission qui peut être revisionné. Celui-ci auquel vous assistez aujourd'hui pourra aussi, bien entendu, être revisionné sur notre site, comme Fanny l'a dit en introduction. Et nous rajouterons effectivement la référence clé, comme Isabelle vient de le dire, du template de propositions pour l'évaluation, la première étape de l'évaluation, stage 1, qui comporte les indications sur ce qu'il est possible de faire ou de ne pas faire. Donc voilà, c'est le document de référence qui concerne la blind evaluation, le modèle de proposition. Étape 1. Voilà, je crois que nous arrivons au bout de notre webinaire. Et nous vous remercions beaucoup à tous pour votre participation, vos questions, et surtout, merci infiniment à nos deux intervenantes, Isabelle, Isabella. Merci beaucoup, beaucoup pour votre participation. C'est très utile pour nous. Je remercie évidemment toute l'équipe du PCN juridique et financier. Et puis, nous vous souhaitons une très bonne journée à tous et du bon succès, bonne chance pour vos soumissions de projets sur les appels à projets en 2 étapes via la blind evaluation.
Merci. Au revoir.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Au revoir.
Bonne journée.